Hello, moderators. Southern Coast, I'm coming at you with a bit of a not exactly unique update. It's more of something a friend of mine, Paul Wilson of the Neo Wilson Railway, just posted a video on. If you've ever been up to upper parts of Michigan, there was a little tourist railroad that shut down just over a year ago, well, 2 years ago now, called the Toonerville Trolley. Well, it was a 5-mile short line tourist railroad. It took people up to a bunch of waterfalls that back then you could, back in 1920, when the line was started, you couldn't get to by road. You had to take the trolley, which is a 2-foot narrow gauge railroad. Which, if you follow the Neo Wilson Railway, it's 2-foot gauge. Well, make a long story short, they're trying to save it. And honestly, it's part of history. 2027, it would have been 100 years old. And what he's planning on doing, if you go watch his video on Neo Wilson Railway YouTube channel, which is also Liberty Farms Flour Mill, everything he runs up there is all steam and or antique themed. Drag saws, you name it. Which I've worked around them. Drag saws are not only a cool technology, but it's something you just don't see these days. Now, with that being said, he's trying to raise $100,000, but the money that's made from this to purchase the railroad, which the owners are currently asking $100K for the whole thing, it's not going to be going back into Neo Wilson's pockets, or Paul Wilson's pocket. It's just outright by the railroad, and when everything's there and they start running the equipment, you go up there for the whole year of 2027, from what he just described on the video. You'll be getting a $5 discount on the ticket to ride around the loop. And the goal afterwards is to build an additional track, another 1-mile loop, so we'll have technically 2 miles of 2-foot gauge railroad, which is no small feat, considering that everything to them is within a 2-hour drive. Which also, you can Google Neo Wilson Railway or Liberty Farms, and you can actually see what they've done. And for just a small farm to do this, it's no easy feat. They've had some pretty deep cuts, just like Norfolk and Petersburg, right out in front of where I'm sitting, had. And hell, you can still see a lot of the handiwork 100 years later. Considering this railroad out here is 173 years old. That's how long the track's been in place. Granted, it's not the original, but the right of way is the original. And yes, I know I haven't been producing any content on the layout for a while, but I've been dealing with other issues around the house. Back on the 13th of last month, I had a clogged sewer drain, which for the life of me, it was driving me up a damn wall. Somebody poured a concrete slab over top of the cleanout. 8 hours with a sledgehammer and a pick is what it took to gain access to the cleanout. Yeah. that problem's resolved now. I'm getting a couple other projects wrapped up before winter. Because in the shed I can just run a space here and boom, that problem's resolved. Now, a couple additional projects I'm going to be working on top of that announcement, which if I can raise a little bit of money to help them, which also Sarah Iron Horse, Kimmerdad, she's also trying to help out with this. Come on guys, let's save a piece of history. Beginning back to my update, the barn shed that you have seen in photos and video in the backyard, next year will be getting demolished. Well, I shouldn't say demolished per se, torn apart, because it's at the point where it's going to take more work to repair it than it would be to tear it down and rebuild it right. So that's what's going on there. With the layout, I'm slowly getting back to getting it running electrically, but let's face it, the electrical is the boring part of building a layout. It's tedious, time consuming, you get the drift. So I'm not trying to post any videos until that I got more of it cleaned up and wired. And yes, I am actively cleaning it up. Now, with that being said, I'm also in the process of getting better electrical out there. And another major update. I was fortunate enough to find a solar power company about roughly an hour north of here, up near where I used to live, up in Ashland, back around 2015 time frame. Yeah, it's been 10 years, hard to believe. But what I picked up there was 5 435 watt panels, which totals out to the total wattage output of 2.1 kilowatt hours. That's nothing to sneeze at. So that's going to require some additional infrastructure there. Which, fortunately enough, the meter on this house is set up to be where it can read what's going back out onto the grid instead of being consumed. My goal is to at least try and offset some of the power that's being used here, so I can start getting rid of this 1970s look in this house. And with that being said, and just over 10 days, well, technically 9 days from now, I'll be going and getting one of my roommates back. Which, I'm gonna let her choose when she wants to come into the picture, but there's some headaches going on her end of life that me and my girlfriend are trying to help her with. And it gets complicated after that, so I'm not gonna go any further. But all I can say is, be careful who you marry. Live with them for at least 4 to 5 years before you lock it down. Well, to make the story go into a little more detail on what's going on. Once I get these solar panels, all the stuff to do the complete installation of the solar panels, which I can make sure I don't need to pull permits because of the amperage, which I will consult a licensed electrician before going any further on that project. Because let's face it, that kind of wattage is beyond more than enough to kill you. Ugh. Now, with that being said, I just want to get it to where I'm not shelling out several $100s a month in electric. Because as of right now, I got the front porch torn apart due to the post having literally a space about that big keeping it or holding it to the ground, and all it took was a flat blade shovel to go and break the post clean in half. Needless to say, I got a new post set, ready to be set in concrete. Got replacement deck boards cut. It's just a matter of funds to finish said project. Right now I got it taped and roped off so nobody gets on it. And one of the back decks, which is the bigger of the two, has to be redecked also. That's going to be approximately $200 just to get that done. I'm trying to get all these projects done before the first snow hits. Yeah. I know it sounds like I'm putting a large amount on my plate, but you gotta do what you gotta do to make things safe. Because nobody needs to go to the emergency room and like hell's happening on my watch. And the roommate that's gonna be getting out here soon, she's not the type that's super prissy. She'll get her hands dirty like Jennifer does too. And a brief update. My brother and mother are both going through surgeries again. My brother has a 9mm bone spur that's been pressing against his spinal column. I don't know how in the hell they discovered it, and it's taken them almost 5 years to discover it. Really? 5 years? But it's inside the spinal column, and they have to go and do surgery. So if you guys could keep Thomas Dunlap in your prayers, because today he was supposed to be going and having that done. In case you guys are wondering, today is October 8th, 2025, and the time I'm filming this is around 10:15. My mother, on the other hand, on the 17th of this month is starting to go through physical therapy for rotator cuff and bicep, which is going to take a while for recovery on that. She had to have her rotator cuff, it was essentially torn in half, surgically fixed, and the bicep muscle reattached. And she's hurting still to the point where they have to give her a Percocet. But at least some good news is coming in. Now, for my project today, I have to try and figure out how I'm going to get underneath the house and reconfigure drain pipe leading to the kitchen sink. Because all I can say is, guys, for the love of God, please have your house. If you're buying a house that's more than 50 years old, I don't care how thorough of an inspection you have, those guys still miss stuff. I'm dealing with band-aids over gaping wounds type repairs, and it's not just one. It's throughout this damn house, and it's driving me up a wall. That's the reason why you haven't been seeing the content. I mean, case in point, when I was talking about the sidewalk. Granted, I can't complain too much. I'm right by one of my favorite railroads, the original Norfolk and Western Railway. and I'm in the process of trying to get blueprints for the original station that was here in Disputana, which there's actually an entire book on the railroad depots of Virginia. If you can find it, it's a worthwhile read. And the same thing goes for the history of Norfolk and Petersburg Railroad. I'm trying to get as much history on this line as possible, because there's no historical society for it. AM and O, which is the predecessor to Norfolk and Western, merged in with Norfolk and Petersburg, from what I've been able to determine. And they went through the Commonwealth of Virginia and had railroad's charter change from the AM and W to Norfolk and Western. And that included the Southside Railroad, Atlantic and Danville, and a few others. Atlantic and Danville made up Southern, was the original part of the Southern. So it was the Richmond and Danville. But that's another story for another day. Anyway, we're pushing about a 16-minute long video, which is the longest I've done in a while. Anyway, guys, if you get a chance, Google Save the Toonerville Trolley and read into the backstory of both Neil Wilson Railway as well as what happened with their family. There's a total of 3 stories on that page. The last one is the vision, what they want to deal with the railroad. It's definitely worth our time, because as he said, even $5 puts him closer to buying the railroad. And it's not a small little railroad. They have 3 locomotives they're going to be acquiring, which currently Neil Wilson has 2, along with flat cars, a bunch more maintenance way equipment that would be helpful for them to build their line as well as maintain it, and general stuff like that. Like I said, it's literally a full railroad that they're going to be buying. Anyway, guys, go check out on Google Save the Toonerville Trolley route. Anyway, my railroaders, have a good day.